Hey everyone, welcome back to night 2 of our wrestling reviews covering the world of WWE. It's a week late, but like I said in the last one, we wanted to get that all-out review out first, so we're doing this week, but this time we're doing it back to back. Before we start, I want to get a few housekeeping things out of the way. I do have a Discord server. The link for that will be in the description box below, as well as all the information for these two gentlemen over here. Whenever I post a new video, whenever anything cool happens, whenever we crown a new champion at AEW Dynamite in 2 weeks, you will see photos of that over there. With that out of the way, we are talking about the NXT premium live event, which was called Worlds Collide, which was built around unification of the NXT and the NXT UK titles now that they've closed shop and fired about 80% of their roster.
Well, because they're going to open NXT Europe
in a couple of years. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to bring the interest in this because you guys know my experience. I've not watched much NXT as much as you guys have. So a lot of these guys were new to me. One person, I've heard her name, but this is the first time I actually saw her, and I'm like, I love her. So we'll get into that later.
We all know who that is because... But we're going to start with the first match of the night, which was Ricochet versus Carmelo Hayes for the NXT North American Championship.
This match was better than any match on All Out.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Finally, Ricochet is getting a chance to shine.
What's his name?
Carmelo Hayes? Carmelo Anthony.
Yo, he's crazy good.
Yeah. Carmelo Anthony's really, really good. I think he's being... I don't want to say wasted in NXT. I think NXT is a good spot for him because if they bring him up to the main roster, he doesn't have a spot there yet.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. I think a lot of times you're better off to take what money they're paying you and stay in NXT and be a household name rather than get pushed to the bottom of the roster in SmackDown or Raw.
Because look what happens with every call-up that they had. Name a call-up from NXT, maybe other than Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins, that have really made that much of an impact.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, but Daniel Bryan was NXT when it was a game show. He never was part of that NXT.
Hey, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Karrion Kross, they made him into like a gimp. So
yeah, which now he's back to his old gimmick with hair. Now with hair. But yeah, this match was insane. It was high flying. It had like all the quick spots, like that. There was that crazy springboard that he did off and they just like both of them springboarded off the second rope and kind of like smashed into each other, kind of thing. It was a high flying, exciting match. It was a lot like one of the best WWE matches in terms of like in general that I've seen since we started doing this review. It was a very, very good match. But with that, Carmelo Hayes, your champion, he goes over and retains the championship. What'd you guys think of this match?
Great.
Yeah, it was very entertaining. It was different for me because again, my thing is since I don't get to see many since I'm not getting to fill in my world of wrestling as much. When I see people at first, when I come to the ring, I'm like, oh, this guy looks boring. You know what I mean? He doesn't have any flair to him. He doesn't look cool. But then these two literally didn't have to have that flair. They were really good in this match. It maintained so well. It was choreographed nicely. The one element was literally one of the best parts of it. But I had no idea who they were. So I was just watching it nonchalant, but then got dragged into it. You know what I mean?
That's how good Ricochet is.
To think Vince was holding on to this the whole time. And yet we watch Roman Reigns fight dog poo for like 12 matches.
Oh, let's not talk about Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin in the dog poo match.
No, there really was a dog poo match.
Dog food match, but yes, there was.
It's better, might as well be dog poo.
Which, surprisingly, a Clash at the Castle, no Baron Corbin. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I'm happy. That's the last thing Putty wanted as well.
Yes. But he missed his Madcap Moss.
I know.
It was a sneaky win by Carmelo Anthony, so I think, or Carmelo Hayes. God damn it!
I win.
You win, so I think this feud will continue, which I don't mind.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. Maybe it continues on to the main roster.
I don't get it. How the hell is the week to week on NXT so bad, but then this thing was like next level?
On the week to week, they put in a lot of that goofy shit, like the Grayson Waller stuff, and
here's the thing. I'm sure
what's the John Wayne Gacy guy?
Well, based on what you said, JD, I didn't know the background situation about this being actual. They're unifying and shutting down the UK. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, NXT UK, they're shutting it down.
See, I didn't know NXT UK even existed. So my whole thought in this was they were just trying to do the New Japan thing. You know what I mean? Bringing two worlds into one and let them battle to, bring belts to different locations.
Which is funny because the NXT UK champ in this match, Tyler Bate, still has not won the championship on the NXT UK TV yet.
This is my first time seeing Tyler.
Yeah.
This is my first time seeing both of them. When we get to that match, I'll talk about that because there's something I want to say, even though I really like the guy, that just makes me laugh, and I'll tell you guys later. So,
but this feud is going to continue. I'd like to see them trade wins for sure. Tag matches, give me more. Put Trick Williams in there somewhere. Like, you don't see enough of Trick Williams. Next match of the night was the NXT Tag Team Championships and the NXT UK Tag Team Champions, which was Briggs and Jensen, who are the UK Tag Champs, and the Creeds, which are the NXT Tag Champs, against Pretty Deadly and Gallus, all four of them in one match.
Okay, so who were like the hillbilly looking team?
That's Briggs and Jensen.
They did not belong in this match compared to the other three teams. Like, I know Pretty Fabulous or whatever they were called.
Pretty Deadly.
They have like a stupid look and it's intentional, but their in-ring work was really good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And they're a tag team. They know how to tag wrestle.
Yeah, I just found it really weird that the NXT UK champions
were American,
a hillbilly-based team that wrestled out of the UK. Like, what was the thought process there when they did that? Because they weren't even like the dumb American stereotype. They're literally like cowboys at a bar.
They reminded me of the Smoking Guns.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably why they exist. But this match was good. It wasn't the best. There was way too much going on. It was very spot heavy, and it was so cluttered that you couldn't even really
tell what's going on
what's happening. And did I miss something good? People are just flying all over the place. It's the arena,
but there was also a lot of guys
itself to these type of matches.
Yeah, but there were also a lot of guys at ringside. Like, you had what's her name, Lash Legend, come out with Pretty Deadly, so she's out there too. Then you had Brutus come out, not Brutus, the other guy, Damon Kemp, who turns his back on the Diamond Mine at that point, come out with them. Then you had like Fallon Henley come out with Briggs and Jensen, and you had Joe Coffey come out with Mark Coffey, Wolf. So it's too convoluted at this point. It's not just an 8-person tag; there's 12 people in the ring.
The presentation of this event was terrible. The layout of the arena, I hate it. I love the fans.
Yeah.
Even though it's mostly just a crowd of like trailer park people, but I mean, it's really loud.
It is Florida.
It feels like real wrestling fans, not just WWE people. And I enjoyed that. But like, the presentation for a premium event was not good. Like, I felt like you were just showing me a weekly NXT thing. Even as good as this match was or could have been, I think it got held down by...
What I think was the smart thing that they did was they made this an elimination match. So once you lost, you were gone. So it took people away from the ring. So the first ones that go out is your hillbilly buddies there. So we're obviously going to get new NXT UK champions at this point already, because even though they took out, what's her name? Fallon Henley's kind of easy on the eyes. They got rid of them. Then you had Gallus go out in a shock elimination. I thought Gallus was going to go over on this one. I thought the way they were building up on the week-to-week TV, I thought Gallus was taking this.
Even just the way that they kind of set up this match, it seemed like that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah. And then it's down to the Creeds against Pretty Deadly, and I don't understand like the reason behind like Damon Kemp turning his back on the Diamond Mine. They made it think like it was Roderick Strong the whole time, but it wasn't, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Creeds are really lame. Their like gimmick is stupid. It's like just really stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was happy with the finish.
Yeah, I like.
To me, it was like no one was expecting that. There's no way anybody thought that that's what was going to happen.
Yeah. So in the end, Pretty Deadly go over. They are your new unified NXT champions,
and they worked really well as a team.
Yeah.
And also, what's his name? The announcer guy?
Vic Joseph or the other one?
Uh,
Wade Barrett?
Wade Barrett really liked their mesh tops.
Yes, he was. He wouldn't stop talking about it.
Like they're high fashion.
They're high fashion, the way he was going. But yeah.
They work really well together. I love the way that the announce team work together, but the thing with it that bothered me, it was so childishly cartoonish.
Yeah.
The way that they talk.
But the fact that Pretty Deadly now are your champs, this gives them a way to write out the creeds, write out the Hillbilly Deluxe over there. And now you got a feud between Gallus and Pretty Deadly, which I won't mind that at all. I kind of like that. Other than that, like, I mean, the finish was good. The match was mediocre. It's rare that we say that. Usually it's the match that's good where the finish is terrible. This time the match was mediocre and the finish was good. With that out of the way, we're probably going to go to Putty's favorite match of the night, which was Mandy Rose versus Meiko Satomura versus Blair Davenport.
Number one, Meiko, I remember her in WCW.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now I only just found out she was only like 17 years old in those matches in WCW.
Yeah.
Like, what if she got hurt or something? Like, are they not liable for that?
Yep, they are.
But yeah, she's been around. This match was excellent.
Yeah,
This is probably, other than the Queen of the Castle match or whatever that was.
Queen of the Mountain,
and maybe the one at the Ric Flair event.
Yeah.
This is probably the best women's match of the year.
Yeah, I even put Mandy Rose has improved like tremendously.
To the point where I don't even recognize her ring work as being her. I was so freaking surprised.
When Mandy Rose first came in the WWE, they were worried that she was just going to be another Eva Marie, just that, you know, I'm hot, so everybody look at me, and I don't need to know how to wrestle.
On her
give her credit. She put the time and the effort in to learn.
Last time I've seen her wrestle, my comparison going into this match was she's going to be like Liv Morgan. No way. This is like one of your top female wrestlers.
Yeah,
like,
she's gonna return to the main roster.
And Toxic Attraction as the tag team are freaking dope too, man.
Okay. So it was Mandy Rose, because the thing is, I guess maybe it was around the time I stopped watching wrestling. Was Mandy Rose part of the main roster of WWE at one point?
Yeah, she was.
She went from NXT to the main roster and then asked to go back to NXT, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
She asked, because she wanted to hone her ability. She wanted to get better. She actually wanted to improve. And that's...
I told you there was one I liked, and you clearly knew which one it was.
Yeah, of course. Come on.
But it's not even just that. When she came out, I was like, "This is like the way she entered." I was like, "This is a cocky little, son of a whatever B word."
That's their whole thing. That's why I love that
gimmick.
But what made it even greater is when she started coming in, I was like, "Oh yeah, she's like the Johnny Cage of the female side. She literally feels like Johnny Cage in that way." And I started falling in love with her. Like, I hope she's as good at wrestling as she is, like entering the ring.
I hope she stays in NXT.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't want to see her being wasted on the main roster.
No, look how much time she gets right now, Putty. She's been the champion for like a year.
She's literally gonna.
I think they're gonna keep her down there just as long, just so I think she beats Asuka's reign as women's champion.
Yeah, because I mean, but both other women in this match were really good.
Yeah,
I agree.
This was an absolutely excellent match.
And you protected Meiko Satomura, because you knew once they added Blair Davenport, former Mrs. Will Ospreay there, as soon as you added her to the match, you knew she was there to take the pin to protect Meiko.
Yeah, and she was really good too.
She is. Don't get me wrong.
Another wrestler out of New Zealand. Another one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're just pumping out.
And for Blair to
wrestlers.
take the loss, for her to take the pin, doesn't hurt her either.
No.
Now she has a reason to feud with Mandy Rose, and I wouldn't mind seeing a Blair versus Mandy feud.
I think Meiko wants to fuck off back to Japan, if I'm being honest.
I think, she's done. She never wanted to work in North America. That's why she joined NXT UK.
And I think she's basically a living legend at this point.
So don't be surprised if we see Meiko Satomura in the New Japan Women's Tournament.
Yeah. I could see them having something like that planned because they know what her name carries with it. And she's not that old. Like, she's still like in the prime of her career at this point.
She's what, late 30s, I think?
No, I think she's like 41, but she's been wrestling for like 20 years, something like that. So,
but I mean, she's 42.
42, but I mean,
she's turning
wow.
43 next month.
In New Japan age,
That's
you're
young.
still in your prime at
Yeah.
42.
Like, I mean, look at we saw last week on the match with Tomohiro Ishii. Like, this man, like 46, is still like going strong and taking like
look at Tanahashi is
Tanahashi.
like 45, 46, and he's an absolute monster still.
Well,
Naito 41, 42, and he's still a beast, right?
And I also like her presentation too. The way they brought her in, I had no idea about her until the show, and I was like, who is this? But I like her presentation. It's not really, like we've been saying, we've been seeing the growth of how they have female wrestlers, things of that nature. And this is one of those girls, because again, we have another one later on that I wasn't really that interested in. This was one that had that interest because it was based on skill. Alone. That makes sense. So
it was absolutely. You had three very talented women in the ring, and like I said, I was super impressed how much watch Mandy Rose a year ago before she won the belt to where Mandy Rose is now. It's night and day.
WWE is going to be hard pressed for the rest of this year to try and beat this match in terms of women's wrestling.
Absolutely. In the end, Mandy Rose pins Blair Davenport. She retains the NXT and unifies the belts with the NXT Women's Championship. I think the feud between Mandy and Blair is going to continue, and Meiko's going back to Japan or Europe.
It'll be a nice little storyline that can use them on, which I'm down.
I'm happy with that. Up next, we have Nikki ASH and Doudrop versus Kaden Carter and Katana Chance.
So I understand that this is a match based around telling a story. Because they're trying to have Nikki ASH be frustrated with Doudrop. They're kind of doing the swerve in our glory situation here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Neither one of them is very good.
No.
Doudrop is definitely better than Nikki.
Yep. And later in the week, I think it was on Raw, didn't they tease where Nikki finally removed the mask? So they may drop that.
Well, they also had a thing where behind the scenes they caught on camera them actually arguing with each other. Yeah. Like someone caught it. Yeah. I believe it to work. But this match was not very good.
No,
you took an almost perfect PPV at this point.
Yep.
And this match brings it down a lot of notches for me, and especially because it was pretty time consuming.
Yeah, when Doudrop is the best worker in the ring out of the four,
those other two girls suck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're not very good.
I don't
like the only thing that was kind of cool was when she did the 450. Katana Chance there, she did that 450 off the second rope. That was a cool spot. Toxic Attraction interferes. I even put champs are unimpressive here, which is Carter and Chance. Toxic Attraction. This is where I kind of got confused. They're getting involved in the match. At this point, shouldn't the referee throw out the match?
Yeah, but we're starting to see this more and more often. Like I said, where anytime someone interferes, if they don't get in the ring, they're not calling it.
Yeah, because in any other event, if this were to happen, they would have rang the bell right away and called off the match.
So I don't know if anybody knew this. In the one we did yesterday for Clash at the Castle, when who was it? Drew McIntyre got pulled out by his leg mid-pin.
By Solo Sikoa, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this was a rule that for the last 20 years, Vince McMahon had in place. So you might not have known, you've never seen this, but you haven't even seen that happen for that long. Triple H reinstated that rule so that they could do that, so Drew McIntyre didn't look that bad in the loss. Because he should have had the win, right? Technically,
yeah.
He only lost because of that. And Triple H thinks that that's a good tool for storytelling, so he reinstated that, and that's why we saw it there. And that's kind of what happened here, where they could have won the match, but the distraction caused them to lose the match.
And it also sets up the future too, because Doudrop and ASH Nikki are going back to the main roster. So now it sets up the feud between Toxic Attraction and to win their belts back, basically.
Yeah, when I think they will.
Yeah, absolutely. They need the it was that's the thing. And I'm like, other than the 450, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter go over. Unimpressive. Not a next we have our main event of the night. Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate.
No,
go ahead, Putty.
I just want to say this real quick. Here's my thing. I think the last match, and this is the reason why a pay-per-view's momentum really shifts when you ruin a match.
Mhm.
I feel the Katana chance, the female match before, really ruined this match for me because it made me lose steam and made me lose interest. I hate putting it
It
that
took
way,
it took
but that's
it took you out of the immersion.
yeah, and
Go.
that's the whole point. If you're, and this is like with the AEW thing, and this is where I feel sometimes WWE does wrong. If you're gonna bring someone in that's not familiar with characters, you can't do this momentum shake. You got to put the powerhouse in front. They should have put that Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet right there at number 4.
I
they put
disagree.
that as-
They should have
no.
put the women's trios match right.
Well, either
before.
way, either one of those in my eyes. My point to the thing is, it ruined it for me, and I
Yeah.
feel like it ruined this match for me.
Going
So
back
tell
to what
me,
you're
you
saying,
guys
the
think?
I think the 4-way tag match should have been there.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
fine. I would have took
Only
that.
because of the fact that if you put that Carmelo Hayes or that women's match, the crowd would have been at such a high. It would be like WrestleMania 18, where the main event was Triple H versus Chris Jericho, but nobody remembers that main event because everybody remembers the match before with The Rock versus Hogan.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody forgets that it was Triple H versus Jericho for the title
Well,
match.
it's Triple H. That's why.
But it's also But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, but The Rock and Hogan took away from that.
Yeah,
and
no,
I think
okay. And this is a double issue I have. That AEW does one thing and WWE does another thing. WWE usually has a decent to very good semifinals match that's better than the finals match, and then your final match feels like a dud. Where AEW puts on such a bad match before the final match that you get there and you're so deflated you don't have any energy left to go.
Yeah,
And
That's kind of what Harry. Yeah.
very
I
much.
noticed that a lot between them. AEW always picks the
because like
wrong
it all
match to
out,
go
it was
before.
the House of Black, right, against Darby Allin and Sting.
Yeah, and it was like a match that nobody cared about was the problem. Not that it was a bad match.
True.
It just
true.
Nobody gives a shit about this feud.
There was no story behind it. There was no build up. There was very little. Like, I think this is going to build to a Miro versus Darby match, but that's a story for another day.
I think Miro's going to push for the title. But anyways,
yeah, I you know what? I wouldn't mind that at all.
On Rampage, he gives a promo. I don't know if you saw Rampage.
No, I haven't seen Rampage.
He's very upset that he's not in the tournament.
Yeah. So going back, Braun Breaker, Putty may remember his dad, Rick Steiner.
Mm-hmm.
And I find Braun Breaker is that perfect blend between Rick and Scott. Yeah.
I agree.
You know what? Braun Breaker is if Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner did the Dragon Ball fusion dance and fused into.
You know what? He's so close to being ready for a main roster push.
And he's only been doing this for a year. He's only been wrestling for a year.
He's almost ready to be like not just a roster push, like a title push. Like put him in any title picture.
Yeah.
Now, as I stated earlier,
can you imagine Braun Breaker versus like Bobby Lashley for the US?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Now, what I said earlier when we started this this podcast, the one thing we we're talking about Tyler Bate, when I saw Tyler Bate come in, I never knew about him because of course he's UK. Braun Breaker I never heard of either, but I kind of liked his momentum how it came in. Tyler Bate, I you know how I always make these jokes about how there's a creative character, things of that nature. The first thing that popped in my head was someone that's never been to actual wrestling match or seen one, just watching movies, because he looks like something that would become from The Wrestler or one of those generic movies because the beard, the hair, the regular.
So is Braun Breaker. He's a typical, like his gimmick looks like a typical creative wrestler thing too.
But Tyler Bate just feels like someone like that made the wrestler based on what they saw in movies. You know what I mean? Like it has that very feel to him. And I didn't feel the champion feel. Like I liked the highlights they did with him when he came in. That was really cool. It was like, I guess it was a way of saying, goodbye to what was and that kind of thing with the belts. And so, I felt that, but I wasn't feeling it for like him because I guess I didn't know him enough to feel that. And that, that I feel like I lost some. And again, I feel like it was also played with the prior matches as well too. So,
but it started off really, really good. Like Bate is he gives up a lot of size and strength, but he's a lot stronger than he looks.
Yeah,
I agree. And his moveset is pretty good. He's a lot more well-rounded than a lot of the wrestlers we saw today.
Yeah. There was that nice double kip up spot where they both do the kip up from the mat. They just kind of look at each other, and
Vince would not have pushed this guy.
No, not at all.
Not even a chance. He would have been a jobber if he made it to the main card the main shows. But
the main roster,
main roster. There you go. This match was good. It was nowhere near the best match of the night, and
Nope.
it kind of I hit such a high by the after the first three matches
Yeah.
that I could only come down after that.
Yeah.
So,
As good as the match was, like, I mean, Braun pulls pages out of his uncle's book and does that Frankensteiner, right? Like, he does that. He did a standing moonsault. Like, this guy this big dude did a standing moonsault, and like even Bate does the standing shooting star press. Like, it's like there was a lot more athleticism in this match than I expected. Tyler Bate I expected from, but not from Braun Breaker.
yeah, and another issue they had here is there wasn't really a story to tell in the ring.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the fact that Bate pulled him, like picked him up for the Tyler Driver 97, like Tiger Driver 97, like he's got some power to him. Like he did that airplane spin into a power bomb on Breaker. Like Bate had some good offense in this match. It made him look strong. But yeah, but in the end though, it was a solid main event. Braun Breaker goes over. So Tyler Bate becomes the first and the last UK champion.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a good mix. And then I like the little spot at the end where Bate picks up both belts and then he says, "You know what? You're the champ. Like, good job." And they go they go off the show with that mutual sign of respect. Where does Tyler Bate go from here?
See, I don't know. For me,
where does Braun go from here?
Well, I'm gonna say
H is gonna move people for sure.
Yeah. I think they're going to keep Braun in the NXT just for a little bit more seasoning for a little bit
until he loses the titles.
Yeah, but I could see Bate joining the main roster.
Yeah, I could see him going right now to the main roster. He's ready.
I see him in that Judgment Day feud.
You could put him wherever. He that's fine with me.
You can put him in the Judgment Day feud. Now you have 3 guys against 3 guys. You can put him in a feud against maybe he's the next opponent for Gunter.
Maybe he's in a feud with Austin Theory. I think that would work really well as well.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe he's in a feud with Austin Theory, though. I think they're going to do they're going to do the Johnny Gargano feud first.
That's fine with me.
I think my theory on Theory is I think Johnny's going to beat him and he's going to take the Money in the Bank.
Maybe you put Tyler against friggin' the guy from YouTube.
Paul,
Jake Paul, whatever his name is.
Yeah, The Miz.
Yeah, you could do that. The Miz clearly is a good starting place for people to work out. So
yeah, so a win over The Miz can do wonders for your career. Miz puts over so many people, and that's his role now in the company. So
makes sense.
But yeah, what'd you guys think of this show? Putty, your first NXT show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So we'll have you start then.
All right, Putty, go ahead and rate this now on your scale of.
Actually, no, I'm fine rating this one because I actually really did enjoy this outside the last 2 matches. I felt like the first 3 matches were solid. Because of the 3, it actually goes over on that.
Putty just enjoyed Mandy Rose almost coming out of her top.
Okay, shut up. Anyway, right on, JD. Anyway,
I know you too well.
The Braun Breaker match was really good too. So yeah, for me, this is like a 7.5 or it's close to an 8. Wow. Match of the night, Mandy Rose, of course. Whatever, fine.
Did you say 7.9?
7.5.
7.5.
You said 7.
8.
Yeah.
7.5.
Okay, 7.5.
Yeah, okay.
We're gonna go back and watch the tape.
Yeah. Maybe I said 9. I didn't realize it. I'm down for that. Change it. I don't care. I actually enjoyed this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But anyway, but yeah, the least match of the night definitely was the tag team,
the women's tag match.
That was just that if that wasn't in there and they fit something else in there, this would have been a great match. It's just or a great fit for you all together, especially for my first NXT. You know what I mean? But I really enjoyed this. I feel like outside of it feeling like it was trying to do the New Japan thing, even though I didn't realize that they really shut down the UK. I really got into it and I was surprised because I thought I was going to get bored and I wasn't. So
good. Campo.
No, you're next.
Me? Okay. For me, it was on the same level as Clash at the Castle. I wouldn't give it the same score, so I'm going to go 0.5 of a point less. So I'm going to give it a 7.55. That's a cop out, I know, but I really enjoyed the card. It was a good show. Unlike you guys, I'm a little bit more familiar with everybody on the show. So I knew who everybody was. I knew who they all were. The matches were solid, other than, like I said, the women's tag championship match. That's was the weakest match on the card. But I got to give it to Ricochet and Carmelo Hayes. That for me was match of the night.
Yeah, I can understand.
Ricochet, this man is a magician in the ring. So
right,
for me, it's a 7.55.
So I'm in the same boat as you. I think the women's tag match, there was nothing as bad as that on Clash at the Castle. Yeah. Plus, I really like the presentation of Clash at the Castle, where the presentation was trash.
It looked like an indie show.
Yeah, it looked like you were trying to be an indie show. Does that make sense? Like, you're not actually an indie show.
I think what NXT suffers from too, is the fact that you have your Raw set, you have your SmackDown set, and then it's a fresh set for any premium live event that you do.
Yeah.
Whereas NXT, it's NXT Level Up, and NXT special events, it's all the same set.
And it's the fact that you're not actually an independent show. So you're trying to, you're basically a knockoff. You're trying to pretend you're an independent show. Anyways.
Yeah.
7.7. It's up there. It's as good as Double or Nothing. I think the best match was the women's three-way match.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just going to say it because the Carmelo Anthony versus Ricochet might have been a better match overall, but I think the fact that this is this is the best women's match we've seen all year from any company, that I'm willing to say arguably is that I think it should be number one. And
okay, fair enough.
I really
I'll give that to you.
its place in the card
because it was a good match. I'm not knocking it. The first three matches were amazing. That definitely, the first three matches were definitely the standout matches. I'd put the Braun Breaker slightly ahead of the men's tag match.
I really liked the tag match.
I agree.
Yeah.
The four-way tag match, but it just had a little bit too much going on to be one of the top matches.
If I was rated, it would be the Mandy Rose, the Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker match. Then it'd be that, and then of course the thing. Because I feel like you're right. Carmelo Hayes and the Mandy Rose one was really close together. But I mean, of course, for each of us, for different reasons, the Mandy Rose one just wins.
I just think it was a really good showing all around. You know what? Okay, hold on. Okay, you know what? Hold on. 7.6.
Okay.
Just because, like I said, you know what? It wasn't perfect. The women's tag match I didn't like. The women's three-way match is my number one. The first three matches are really good. Check them out. 7.6.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, with that out of the way,
we all gave it a good score. We were all almost the same score.
We're very, very close to all our scores. I'm not sure which one is the next one now. Is it Bound for Glory or is it Extreme Rules?
I think it's Extreme Rules. The next one we have coming up is Burning Spirit.
Yes.
Burning Spirits, New Japan. And then there's the WWE one.
Actually, no. Then it's Bound for Glory is before Extreme Rules.
Okay, so
Bound for Glory. Bound for Glory is on the Saturday, October 7th, and Extreme Rules is Sunday, October 8th.
Why?
Oh my God!
Why do they keep doing this?
When is Burning Spirit?
Burning Spirits is I think the 24th, September 24th.
September 24th. Okay. So that'll definitely be the next one. So yeah, you're gonna have 3 back-to-back weeks of wrestling reviews. So stay tuned for that. More wrestling is always a good thing. So with that out of the way, guys, thanks again for joining us. Let us know your thoughts. If you watched Worlds Collide, let us know what you thought down in the comments below. Definitely go out of your way to watch the entire pay-per-view. It's less than 2 hours. It's well worth your time. Definitely well worth your time. So go on and give it a watch. If you have Peacock, you can watch it easily on demand. So can you?
On Peacock?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. I can get everything wrestling.
Well, I live in Canada, so I still have the network. So Campo, how's the network been treating you?
I like it. Thank you, WWE.
Yes, thank you for keeping the network on in Canada. So with that out of the way, thanks again for joining us. Check out the Discord server whenever we drop a new wrestling review or whenever we drop a new coffee and cannoli. Whenever there's a new episode, go on and check that out. Go out and check these guys out. And let's do this, guys, and we'll see y'all next time. I don't know what Putty's doing.